Commander Jake Morrison looked out from the bridge of his ship. The stars were beautiful, but today they brought death. Thousands of enemy ships moved toward Earth like a dark cloud. The Zephyrian Empire had come to end humanity. Jake had fought in space for 15 years. He had seen many battles, but nothing like this. The alien ships were huge and black. They moved together like birds in the sky. Each one was bigger than 3 human ships put together. Their weapons could cut through metal like a hot knife through butter. Admiral Lisa Carter spoke through the radio from Luna Station. Her voice was calm, but Jake could hear the worry underneath. All ships, this is Carter. We count 2,000. Enemy vessels. We have 300 ships ready to fight. I know the numbers are bad, but remember what we are fighting for. Our families, our home, our future. Jake looked around his bridge. His crew was young and scared. Most of them had never seen real combat. Lieutenant Sam Wilson sat at the weapons station. His hands shook as he checked the guns. Engineer Beth Clark worked at her station, trying to get more power to the shields. They all knew they might not. Live through the day, Dr. Alex Bennett worked far below on Earth. He had studied the aliens for months. What he learned made him sick. The Zephyrians did not just kill their enemies. They collected them like toys. The strongest people were kept alive in glass boxes. The rest became slaves or died. 14 worlds had fallen to them. Earth would be number 15. The enemy ships entered the solar system near Jupiter. They moved in perfect lines. No human fleet could move that way. The Zephyrians shared their thoughts through machines in their heads. One mind controlled 1,000 ships. It made them strong, but Jake wondered if it made them weak too. Captain Nicole Hayes commanded the newest human ship, the Phoenix. It had weapons that had never been tested in real battle. She got her orders from Admiral Carter. Nicole, take your ship to the outer ring. Hit them hard and fast. We need to buy time for the evacuation ships. The evacuation ships were already leaving Earth. Millions of people packed into cargo ships and old passenger vessels. Children cried as they left their homes. Parents held them close and whispered that everything would be okay. But everyone knew the truth. If the human fleet lost, there would be nowhere left to run. The first battle started near Jupiter's moons. Human fighter ships were small and quick. They flew between the big alien ships like tiny insects. The space around Jupiter lit up with weapons fire. Red laser beams cut through the darkness. Blue plasma bolts exploded against ship hulls. Commander Morrison led his ship into the fight. The aliens shot back with weapons that made no sound, but could melt steel. One human ship exploded in a ball of fire. Then another. The Zephyrians had better shields, better guns, and more ships. But the humans kept fighting. All fighters, this is Morrison. Stay close to the big ships. Use them for cover. Don't try to fight fair. Hit and run. Make every shot count. Jake watched his pilots fly into certain death. Some of them were just kids, barely old enough to vote. But they flew their ships like heroes from old stories. The alien ships fired in waves. Their weapons never missed. Their shields stopped almost every human attack. Jake saw the cruiser New York break apart under enemy fire. 300 people died in seconds. The destroyer Boston tried to ram an alien ship. It bounced off there. Shields and spun away. Broken and dark. Dr. Bennett watched the battle from Earth's command center. Screens showed the fighting around Jupiter. Red dots for human ships, blue dots for aliens. The red dots kept disappearing. At this rate, the human fleet would be gone in hours. Admiral Carter, Bennett called through his radio. I'm seeing something strange in the alien movement patterns. Their formation is perfect, but maybe too perfect. They move like one big machine, not separate ships. Lisa Carter nodded as she watched her fleet die. The evacuation ships were still loading people. Earth needed more time. All ships pull back to Mars orbit. We make our next stand there. Every minute we hold them is another 1,000 lives saved. The retreat was not easy. The alien ships followed like hungry wolves. They picked off the slower human vessels one by one. The transport ship Liberty, full of wounded soldiers, tried to escape. Enemy fire caught it near Mars. It exploded like a small sun, taking 800 people with it. Jake Morrison's ship reached Mars with half its crew dead. The hull had 3 big holes in it. The engines made strange noises, but the guns still worked, and that was all that mattered. Around him, the remains of humanity's fleet took new positions. 70 ships left out of 300. Captain Hayes brought the Phoenix to the front line. Her experimental weapons had worked better than anyone hoped. She had destroyed 2 alien ships and damaged 5 more. But even the new weapons were not enough. For every alien ship destroyed, 10 more took its place. The Zephyrian fleet moved toward Mars like a wall of death. Their commander sent a message to the human fleet. The alien voice was cold and empty. Humans of Earth, you have fought well, but you cannot win. Surrender now. Your strongest will be preserved. The rest will serve the Empire. Resist further, and all will die. Admiral Carter's answer was short. Go to hell. The alien commander seemed confused by this response. The Zephyrians had conquered 14 worlds. Every other species had surrendered when they saw the hopeless odds. They could not understand why humans would choose death over slavery. Jake Morrison prepared his ship for the final battle. His crew looked at him with trust and fear. These people had followed him into hell, and he had to be strong for them. Listen up, everyone. We might not win this fight, but we're going to make them remember us. Every shot we fire, every second we hold them back, saves human lives. That has to be enough. The alien fleet opened fire. The space around Mars became a storm of deadly light. Human ships exploded like fireworks, but they kept shooting back. The Phoenix dove deep into the enemy formation, its new weapons cutting through alien hulls. But there were always more ships, always more enemies. As the battle raged, something strange began to happen. The perfect alien formation started to change. Small mistakes appeared. Ships moved out of line. Weapons fire became less accurate. Jake noticed it first, but he did not understand what it meant. The tide of battle was about to turn, but not in any way that anyone expected. The alien fleet moved toward Mars like a black storm. But something was wrong. Commander Jake Morrison watched from his damaged bridge as enemy ships began to drift out of their perfect lines. A Zephyrian cruiser fired at empty space. Another. Ship spun slowly, as if its pilot had fallen asleep. What the hell is happening to them? Lieutenant Sam Wilson asked. His weapons station showed confused readings. The alien ships that had moved like one mind are now acting like lost children. Dr. Alex Bennett sat in Earth's command center, watching the battle on dozens of screens. His job was to study alien behavior, and what he saw made no sense. The Zephyrians were the most organized species in the galaxy. Their neural links let them think as one giant brain. But now their formation was falling apart like a house of cards. Bennett grabbed his radio. Admiral Carter, this is Bennett. Something is disrupting their coordination. Look at Grid 7. That destroyer just fired on its own support ship. Admiral. Lisa Carter studied her tactical display. Bennett was right. The alien fleet was making mistakes. Small ones at first, then bigger ones. Ships bumped into each other. Weapons fired at the wrong targets. It was like watching a perfect machine break down piece by piece. On the Phoenix, Captain Nicole Hayes pushed her ship deeper into the enemy. Formation. Her engineer, Carlos Rodriguez, worked frantically in the engine room. Sparks flew from damaged systems. The ship shook with each enemy hit, but Carlos noticed something strange. "Captain," Carlos called through the radio, "the aliens are having trouble targeting us. Their lock-on systems keep failing. It's like something is jamming their computers." Nicole looked at her instruments. The aliens should have destroyed the Phoenix 10 times over. Their weapons were better, their shields stronger, but their shots kept missing by inches. Carlos, what could cause that kind of interference? "I don't know, Captain, but whatever it is, it's getting stronger." Deep in space, Lieutenant Amy Foster flew her damaged fighter through the wreckage around Mars. Her ship had one engine and half its weapons. She should have been dead hours ago, but she kept fighting because that was what humans did. They never gave up, even when giving up made sense. Amy watched an alien battleship lose control completely. It spun like a broken toy, firing in all directions. Its weapons hit 3 other alien ships before it crashed into an asteroid. She had never seen anything like it. "This is Foster to all fighters," she called on the radio. "The big ooglies are acting crazy. Press the attack while they're confused." The human fighters swarmed the confused alien ships like angry bees. They were still outnumbered 10 to 1, but the aliens could not coordinate their response. Ships that should have supported each other were firing at empty space or spinning out of control. Doctor Bennett worked his computers faster than ever before. He compared battle recordings with alien behavior patterns. Something was interfering with their neural links. But what? The Zephyrians had conquered 14 worlds. They had faced every kind of weapon and defense. What made humans different? Then Bennett saw it. The electromagnetic readings from the battle were unlike anything in his files. Human ships were broadcasting on every frequency at once. Military communications mixed with music, personal messages, and random radio chatter. It was chaos in electronic form. "Carter," Bennett called excitedly, "I think I know what's happening. The aliens share thoughts through their machines. But our radio traffic is creating interference. All our communications, all our electronic noise, it's jamming their brain links." Admiral Carter studied the data Bennett sent her. Human ships had been broadcasting everything during the battle. Orders, music, prayers, love letters to families back home. The electromagnetic spectrum around Earth was full of human thoughts and feelings turned into radio waves. "You're saying our chatter is driving them crazy?" Carter asked. "More than crazy," Bennett replied. "Their minds are designed for order and control. Human consciousness is chaotic, emotional, unpredictable. When their neural links pick up our transmissions, their brains can't process it. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose." Carter grabbed her main communicator. "All ships, this is Admiral Carter. I want everyone to broadcast everything. Personal logs, music files, family photos, anything electronic. Flood all frequencies. Make as much noise as possible." The order spread through the human fleet like wildfire. Every ship began transmitting at maximum power. Commander Morrison ordered his crew to broadcast their personal music collections. Engineer Beth Clark shared her grandmother's recipes over the radio. Gunner Tom Davis read love poems his wife had written. The effect on the alien fleet was immediate and devastating. Ships began colliding with each other as their pilots lost control. A massive Zephyrian dreadnought fired its main guns at its own escort ships. Another group of alien vessels started spinning in circles, their navigation systems overwhelmed by the flood of human consciousness. Captain Hayes pushed the Phoenix deeper into the chaos. Her crew broadcast everything they could think of. Chief Engineer Danny Cooper played his collection of old country music. Weapons Officer Lisa Thompson recited Shakespeare between firing her guns. The nearby alien ships began acting like drunken dancers. The electromagnetic storm of human thought grew stronger with each passing minute. Fighter pilot Amy Foster broadcast her angry thoughts about the aliens who had come to destroy her world. Her raw emotion turned into radio waves spread to nearby alien ships. Their crews began making errors, firing at shadows, turning their ships in confused circles. Dr. Bennett watched the readings with amazement. The aliens' perfect coordination was breaking down completely. Their neural links, designed to create unity, were now spreading chaos throughout their entire fleet. Every human emotion, every random thought, every electronic signal was like poison to their ordered minds. "It's working," Bennett reported to Admiral Carter. "Their whole command structure is collapsing. They can't think clearly with all our noise in their heads." The alien command ship, a massive fortress that had controlled the conquest of 14 worlds, sent out a desperate transmission. The alien leader's voice was broken and confused. "Human ships, stop your psychic attacks. This is not honorable warfare. You are using forbidden weapons of the mind." Admiral Carter almost laughed. The aliens who had enslaved entire civilizations were complaining about unfair fighting. "This is Carter to Alien Command. We're not using psychic weapons. We're just being human." The battle around Mars became a rout. Alien ships fled in all directions, their perfect formation shattered. Some tried to maintain course, but crashed into asteroids or each other. Others spun wildly, their crews unable to control their own vessels. Commander Morrison led his damaged ship in pursuit of retreating aliens. His crew continued their chaotic broadcasts. Children's songs mixed with military reports. Love letters blended with weapons specifications. The very essence of human civilization became a weapon that no alien mind could resist. The tide of the war had turned not through superior technology or military genius, but through humanity's greatest strength. They were gloriously, chaotically, impossibly human, and that was enough to break an empire. The Zephyrian Empire's greatest strength became its worst nightmare. Their neural linking technology had allowed perfect coordination across thousands of ships for centuries. Now it was spreading humanity's chaos like a disease through the air. Entire fleet, General Kevin Brooks, watched from Earth's orbital defense platforms as massive alien dreadnoughts crashed into each other. Ships that had conquered 14 worlds were now spinning helplessly in space. Their pilots could no longer tell the difference between their own thoughts and the storm of human consciousness flooding their minds. "My God," Brooks whispered into his communicator, "they're destroying themselves." The alien fleet's breakdown was spreading faster than anyone expected. Each ship that lost control sent panic through the neural network to other vessels. Fear jumped from mind to mind through their electronic brain links. What had once made them strong was now tearing them apart. Dr. Sarah Williams worked alongside Dr. Bennett in Earth's command center. She studied the real-time data streaming from the battle zone. The readings were incredible. The aliens' brain patterns were going wild, like computers trying to process too much information at once. "Alex, look at this," Sarah said, pointing at her screen. "Their neural activity is off the charts. The human electromagnetic noise is overloading their thought processes. They literally cannot think straight." Bennett nodded as he watched more alien ships lose control. Their minds evolved for order and hierarchy. Human consciousness is the opposite. We think in contradictions, feel emotions that don't make logical sense, create art that has no practical purpose. To them, we must seem completely insane. "Captain." Nicole Hayes pushed the Phoenix deeper into the enemy formation. Her crew had turned their ship into a floating radio station of chaos. Every human thought, every random emotion, every piece of electronic noise was broadcast at maximum power. Engineer Danny Cooper played his grandmother's folk songs over the ship's external speakers. The ancient melodies mixed with the whine of damaged engines and the crackle of weapons fire. Nearby alien ships began spinning wildly as their crews lost all sense of direction. Weapons. Officer Lisa Thompson recited Shakespeare between firing. Salvos at confused enemy vessels. "To be or not to be, that is the question," she quoted, then fired a missile at an alien cruiser that was shooting at its own escort ships. The contradiction between poetry and violence was exactly the kind of chaos that drove alien minds to madness. Lieutenant Amy Foster dove her damaged fighter through a group of alien destroyers. They should have blasted her to pieces, but their gunners could not focus on targets anymore. The human radio broadcasts had filled their heads with strange thoughts and impossible emotions. One alien ship fired at empty space while its captain apparently tried to understand a human love song. Another vessel attempted to land on an asteroid because its pilot was overwhelmed by a child's laughter. Broadcast from Earth, the perfect military machine of the Zephyrian Empire was falling apart one mind at a time. The alien command ship, a massive fortress that had coordinated the conquest of entire star systems, sent out increasingly desperate transmissions. Their leader's voice cracked with confusion and fear as he tried to speak in broken human languages learned from conquered species. "Stop the mind weapons," the alien commander begged. "We cannot think. Our thoughts are not our own." "What kind of beings are you?" Admiral Lisa Carter responded from Luna Station. "We're human. This is what we are. Chaotic, emotional, impossible to predict. You came here to conquer us, but you don't understand us at all." The alien commander's response was barely understandable. His words mixed human languages with alien sounds as his neural links struggled to process the flood of human consciousness. "You are not logical. You do not follow patterns. How can minds work this way?" Dr. Bennett listened to the alien's confused rambling with fascination. "Sarah, do you hear that? He's trying to understand human consciousness through alien logic. It's like trying to solve an equation that has no answer." More alien ships began firing on each other as their crews lost the ability to distinguish friend from foe. The neural network that had once perfectly coordinated their fleet was now spreading madness like a virus. Ships that had worked together for decades suddenly saw each other as enemies or threats. Commander Jake Morrison led his damaged ship through the chaos, broadcasting everything his crew could think of. Personal memories, childhood songs, arguments about sports, complaints about military food. The random thoughts of ordinary humans became weapons more powerful than any missile or laser beam. "All ships, keep broadcasting," Morrison ordered. "Every human thought, every feeling, every stupid joke or random memory. Pour it all into space. Show these aliens what it means to be human." The effect was devastating. Alien ships began shutting down their neural links to escape the chaos, but this only made coordination impossible. Vessels that had moved like a single organism were now isolated and confused. Some fired randomly at anything that moved. Others simply drifted in space, their crews paralyzed by the alien nature of human thought. Captain Hayes received reports from across the battle zone. Alien formations were breaking apart everywhere. Ships fled in panic, their perfect discipline replaced by terror and confusion. The mighty Zephyrian war machine was dissolving into scattered groups of frightened, isolated vessels. "This is Hayes. To all human ships," she broadcast. "The aliens are breaking. Press the attack, but keep broadcasting. Our chaos is their weakness." Fighter pilot Amy Foster chased a group of fleeing alien ships toward Jupiter. They moved without coordination, bumping into each other and firing at shadows. One alien vessel tried to surrender by playing human music it had picked up from the broadcasts. But the melody was so distorted, it sounded like a scream. The collapse spread beyond the immediate battle zone. Alien ships throughout the solar system began losing control as the human electromagnetic storm reached them. The neural network that connected the entire Zephyrian fleet became a highway for chaos, carrying human consciousness to every corner of their armada. Dr. Williams tracked the breakdown through her sensors. The effect is spreading exponentially. Every alien mind that experiences human consciousness becomes a new source of chaos in their network. They're contaminating themselves. General Brooks watched alien ships flee toward the outer system, but they were not retreating in formation. They scattered like frightened animals, each vessel trying to escape the storm of human thought that had invaded their minds. The greatest military force in galactic history was running away from a species they had come to conquer. The age of Zephyrian dominance was ending not with the clash of mighty fleets, but with the simple, terrible power of human consciousness unleashed upon minds that could not comprehend its chaotic beauty. Within 6 hours, the mighty Zephyrian armada was in full retreat. Ships fled in all directions like scared animals, their perfect formation completely broken. Many vessels were too damaged by the psychological assault to achieve faster-than-light travel. They drifted in space, their crews either unconscious or staring blankly at nothing. Captain Jake Morrison led a boarding party onto the abandoned Zephyrian command ship. The massive vessel floated dead in space, its lights flickering weakly. Inside, they found alien crew members sitting motionlessly at their stations, their eyes wide with shock. The human radio broadcasts had completely overwhelmed their ordered minds. "Secure the bridge," Morrison ordered his Marines. "And be careful. We don't know if they're dangerous or just broken." The alien commander sat in his chair like a statue. When Morrison approached, the creature looked up with confused eyes. "You are the Chaos Bringers," he whispered in broken English. "We cannot understand. How do minds work without order?" Morrison studied the alien leader with a mixture of pity and anger. This being had commanded the conquest of 14 worlds, the enslavement of billions of innocent people. Now he seemed as helpless as a lost child. "We don't work without order," Morrison replied. "We just have a different kind of order. One you can't understand." The ship's vast databases contained the complete history of the Zephyrian Empire's conquests. Dr. Alex Bennett worked frantically to download everything before the alien ship's power failed completely. What he found made him sick with anger and amazement. Every species the Zephyrians had conquered had been logical, predictable, and organized. The Vorthan people had surrendered when their mathematical calculations showed resistance was impossible. The crystalline beings of Kepler-7 had submitted because their logical minds could not accept the waste of continued fighting. "They've never met anyone like us," Bennett reported to Admiral Carter. "Every other species made rational decisions based on survival odds. They surrendered when defeat seemed certain. We're the first species they've encountered that gets more stubborn when the odds get worse." Engineer Carlos Rodriguez worked in the alien ship's engine room, studying their advanced technology. The Zephyrian machines were incredibly sophisticated, but they were designed for minds that thought in straight lines. Human consciousness, with its contradictions and emotional jumps, was like putting random data into a precise computer program. "Captain Morrison," Rodriguez called through his radio, "I'm seeing something incredible down here. Their whole civilization is based on shared thinking. Every ship, every city, every person connected through electronic links. But the human broadcasts didn't just affect their fleet. The contamination is spreading throughout their entire empire." Morrison felt a chill as he realized what Rodriguez meant. The neural networks that connected all Zephyrian ships also connected to their home worlds. Human consciousness was now flooding through their entire civilization like a virus of chaos. Admiral Lisa Carter received reports from across the solar system. Zephyrian ships were not just retreating, they were fleeing in pure panic. But they were not heading home in organized formations. They scattered in all directions, their empire's coordination completely shattered. All human ships, begin pursuit operations, Carter ordered. But remember, we're not conquerors. We're liberators. Follow the aliens to their occupied worlds and help free the enslaved populations. The liberation of alien-controlled worlds began immediately. Human ships, many still damaged from the battle, followed the fleeing Zephyrians through hyperspace. But when they arrived at conquered planets, they found the Zephyrian occupation forces in complete chaos. Captain Nicole Hayes brought the Phoenix to the world of Vega 3, where the peaceful Delian people had been enslaved for 50 years. The Zephyrian garrison was found wandering aimlessly through their own base, their minds broken by recursive loops of human thought patterns that had burned into their neural networks. The Delian people emerged from their underground hiding places to find their oppressors sitting in corners, rocking back and forth and mumbling fragments of human songs and poems. The liberation had happened without a single shot being fired. Lieutenant Amy Foster, now promoted to captain for her heroism in the battle, led a squadron to the mining world of Epsilon 2. The enslaved workers there told amazing stories. There, Zephyrian overseers had suddenly begun acting strangely 3 days ago. Some sat down and refused to move. Others ran around in circles, apparently trying to escape thoughts that were not their own. Dr. Sarah Williams analyzed the data coming in from liberated worlds across the galaxy. The Zephyrian Empire was collapsing faster than anyone had imagined possible. Their neural linking technology, once their greatest achievement, had become the pathway for their destruction. The contamination is spreading exponentially, Williams reported to Earth Command. Every Zephyrian mind that encounters human consciousness becomes a new transmission point. They're spreading our chaos to their own people faster than we ever could. On Earth, the evacuation ships began returning home. Families reunited with tears of joy and disbelief. Children who had left their planet as refugees came back as citizens of the species that had ended. Galactic Conquest forever. Commander Morrison remained on the captured alien ship, studying their records. He found files on every conquered world, every enslaved species, every act of brutality committed in the name of Zephyrian order. But he also found something else that amazed him. The aliens had detailed studies of human behavior dating back decades. They had watched humanity's wars, its art, its literature, its music. They had tried to understand how human minds worked, but their logical approach had missed the most important point. They studied us like a science problem, Morrison told Dr. Bennett. They cataloged our emotions, analyzed our conflicts, recorded our achievements. But they never understood that chaos and order can exist together in the same mind. They thought we were broken because we don't think in straight lines. Years passed as humanity helped rebuild the liberated worlds. The former slaves of the Zephyrian Empire worked together to create new civilizations based on cooperation rather than conquest. Many species had never known freedom, and learning to think for themselves was harder than learning to resist oppression. The scattered remains of the Zephyrian Empire never reunited. Their shared consciousness, once their greatest strength, had become impossible to rebuild. Too many of their minds carried fragments of human thought, making their old unity a source of madness rather than strength. Captain Hayes, now Admiral Hayes, stood on the bridge of her new flagship and looked out at the stars. Humanity had not sought to become the guardians of the galaxy, but that was the role they had found themselves in. Not through conquest, but through the simple act of being themselves. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. In a universe where order had always defeated chaos, sometimes the most irrational response was the most rational one of all. Humanity had ended the age of conquest, not through superior weapons or brilliant strategy, but by refusing to be anything other than gloriously, chaotically, impossibly human. The Zephyrian Empire's final conquest had become the end of conquest itself, and the galaxy would never be the same.